Another one. Your faithful Amanda Splatts. Amanda Splatts Project. Sometimes I get a little worried about like the lore and the writing and everything. I get a little worried that I do these writing streams once a month and they're really for me. Writing and WebP and stuff, that's for me. I don't care if it does numbers or not. I really don't. It's to help keep me sane. Well, hey, morning, Jinx. Thanks for stopping by, my man. Because I do, for such a story, like, relatively short story, I do introduce quite a few characters. Not counting cameos by Malone and people like that. But I was looking over the cast recently, and I've had to dump a couple characters from the story. I looked at the cast recently, and I'm like, hey, every character here, every important character that's stuck around, is an important aspect of the story. Obviously, there's Amanda, the protagonist, the kind of the proxy, kind of a viewer proxy also, because Amanda's new to this world after being run over by the Isekai truck like 15 years ago. She's new to Mahavre relatively compared to everyone else. So the viewer's kind of seeing all this stuff she doesn't understand yet through her own eyes. Sand Rubios, she's the history of Mahavre, both as the county itself and the mysticism, the place where the gods once walked. When the gods once walked this place freely. General Bun Beauregard, she's someone to kind of help take care of Amanda. Someone kind of give her comfort because it's a dark fucking place. But even the general herself is at these dark times she's going through, and she may have to be leaving soon. And Juliet Romero, the military femboy. He has a role to play. He's here to expose. He's kind of a hierophant, kind of exposing certain things like the non-Euclidean roads and the whole war and everything. It's just kind of a little bit of exposition. Agent Takeen, the one that I actually had help creating with chat itself. Yourself. She's here to help guide the story, actually plot, and because of her, there's actually a plot now. Trying to find the water. Trying to bring the water back to the place that the gods once walked. Trying to bring the gods back to this place. And Alpha Splatts. It's not just the writer's barely disguised fetish. Alpha was also kind of meant to bring hope to the story. Because I've talked about Amanda dying at the end of the story, or towards the end of the story. About how Amanda may not live to see the end of the story. And Alpha, who is Amanda from the future, is kind of there to tell us now she's going to make it. And she's going to make it, and she's going to be better for it, and she's going to make it back somehow and help herself. So, originally, Juliet was supposed to be the antagonist. The military femboy, Juliet Romero, was supposed to be the antagonist of the story. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought Juliet was like, she's as much of a victim in this place as anyone else. Or he's as much a victim as anyone else. So then I thought about the Rattlers. The kind of generic, over-the-top, goofy villain characters, like the ones who've been manipulating Amanda, trying to lying to her, bullshitting her, cajoling her, trying to get what they can out of her. And I don't see them as a big, powerful force either. I almost see them like a Team Rocket kind of thing, just generic henchmen to get the shit kicked out of them here and there. Especially the big one, Devil, aka Fortune Faded. I don't even have too much of a plan for them, other than just like having them get the shit kicked out of them at some point. So I was thinking I need a good antagonist. if we're gonna end the story, if we're gonna bring the story to a satisfying conclusion at some point, like in the next year or so, I need a good antagonist. So I started brainstorming a little bit, and it's kind of an, I don't know if this is what actual writers do, because I haven't had a ton of actual training as a writer. I just do what I fucking do. And I did have a few classes in high school. I did have like a couple classes in college. But I never actually like perfect like I just do this as I do. Like I'm never gonna sell a fucking book. Never gonna sell a fucking word. Just something to help me organize things. And I was thinking, what is the opposite of Amanda? Well, for one thing, she's nervous, she's scared, she's uncertain, she's got a broken heart. So anyone like the opposition would be like very cold, very confident. But she's your faithful Amanda Splatts, so she's also full of. So anyone opposition would kind of be full of shit. So I was thinking, what is someone who is cold, cocky, confident, cocksure, but also full of shit? And almost immediately I thought, lawyer. Lawyer fits perfectly. It has to be a fucking lawyer. I almost thought politician, but then I'm like, no, that might get into like political territory. So I think a lawyer fits. So at that point, I start kind of shaping the character of Mossberg, J. Mossberg Malgraves. They are, yeah, I'm gonna use they because we don't know. There's some things we don't know about Mossberg yet, but initially, I took the name Mossberg from like the secret character in City of the Wolves. I didn't know Mossberg was actually a type of gun. It's actually kind of cool too. Let me check. Let me further fuck up my search history by looking up another type of gun. Would Mossberg carry a Mossberg? O.F. Mossberg and Sons is an American firearms manufacturer specializing in shotguns, rifles, scopes, and pistol accessories. Oh, so it's a whole company. So that actually makes sense too. 12 gauge pump. Youth 20 gauge. Why would a youth want a 20 gauge pump action shotgun? Oh god, she owns a shotgun. She didn't own a shotgun before I looked that up. She owns a shotgun now. They own a shotgun. I mean, they. Most of the cast, I forget, 90% of the cast of the story is female. So I keep forgetting Juliet is a him and Mossberg is a they. Everyone else is a she. As far as how you refer to me, the author, I don't fucking care. Like, obviously it's a male doing the voice, so he, him applies. Amanda's a female character, so she, her applies. I'm playing multiple characters, so they, them applies. I don't care what pronoun you use. Just don't be a fucking little shit about it, alright? I feel like I have to explain that every time. I shouldn't have to, but I feel like I do. So, I also wanted to explore the history of Sandy a little bit. Who she was before Amanda came around. Because remember, the only reason that Sandy looks like Amanda is because she's copying Amanda's body. Like, she saw Amanda gory, bloody, her bottom half hanging off, her entrails scraping across the desert floor. Saw her and like, how is she alive? And can I reverse engineer this? Can I, whatever the transformation this girl went through? So San Ruby, aka Ma-E, is actually a coyote spirit, or a coyote emissary. She can take multiple forms, and that's what kind of I tried to illustrate during the 1 year anniversary writing stream, where she took a different form of a character that used to run Mahavri back in the day, big socialite type. And I kind of wanted to hint back that Ma-E, San Ruby, kind of ran shit back in the day. She used to run the fucking town. In fact, the story I was going to write today, pushed off a little bit, was going to be about Sandy's history, like in another time period in Mahavri. But then I started coming up with ideas for Mossberg and how Mossberg could play into that. And then ended up just developing the character, just throwing the general description I had: androgynous, orange shirt, black vest, gray eyes, throwing that into Bing Create AI generator and see what kind of vibe that gave me. And kind of chilling. Some of the results I got were kind of chilling. And I'm like, yeah, I think I've hit something here. So there are two different types of writing streams I do. There are ones where I have no idea going in, and I kind of draw on the chat. I draw on the people in the chat what they want to see. And then there are also the kind where I go in with an idea. I have an idea, and you just like watch me. For like 5 minutes, and then I read out what I said. Which is honestly how I do it when I'm alone. Like, I'll type for a while, and once the certain like impetus fades, I'll read it back to myself to make sure everything is right. Like with I usually don't spell check until the end, though sometimes I have to. For harder words like Hassenpfeffer. But just to keep the flow. And then at the end, I will read the whole thing back. Although part of the reason I read the whole thing back on these streams is like, if you don't watch the show live and you do want to get caught up with the story, you can just fast forward to the end. So I'll warn you right now, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, like, too horribly fucking long this morning. Woke up with a really bad headache. Like, I think it's a tension headache. Because it was on, like, one side of my head, just like the right side of my head. I took some naproxen sodium. I'm hoping it kicks in soon. Might just have to take, like, a couple-hour nap before me and Malone play Fightcade this afternoon. It really fucking hurts. The thing with the naproxen sodium too, I can't take, like, I can only take it like once every 24 hours. So if it starts wearing off at this time, like 5 a.m., 4 a.m. tomorrow, I'm just kind of fucked. Got the Coke Zero going this morning. Could have opened it on stream and said salute. I'm thinking about doing a character week next week. I mean, next week is WebP Sextant Synthesis. And we're also going to do the next part of the story we did last night. The ongoing saga known as And Zosimus Tarkus as himself. I was thinking of doing some more in character since, because I remember there was one week, I think there was one week where I did one as Juliet and as Bun Bun. I wanted to do one with Takeen, but I didn't have time to make a model in time. So thinking maybe doing one with her, or it'll be easier to make the models with the 2D, the little V kit that Choco showed me. So just to be experimental, just to try some new shit. I might just do a all in character next week. I don't know. See how the story goes. We got a stream for Sandy next week. Trying to focus more on Sandy this month, because it's spoopy month. But there's a difference between being spoopy and like straight evil. And I wanted to get that kind of distinction going. Kind of lawful evil and chaotic evil. Like, that's one of the big reasons I had so many stables in WebP, my wrestling federation. Because I wanted to hook them to the alignments. The classic D&D alignments. Because I got one that's chaotic good, chaotic evil, lawful good, lawful evil, chaotic neutral, good neutral, and evil neutral. Because lawful neutral, that's just like police and... Not police, but referees. People who just straight up follow the law, period. And true neutral, that's just like employees. So that was why initially I chose 7 stables for WebP, the other alignments. My mind, man. I come in here with a general idea of what I want to do. But it's like with the 1 year anniversary writing stream. I come in and if the story goes to a different place, I just let it go. Like, I had revelations that weren't supposed to happen until the end of the story. Ended up happening at that one chapter because it just felt the right place to drop. That yes, Sandy is sick, Sandy is dying. She's a god, but she's dying. And that the water's not coming back until potentially the gods come back. Gotta help move the story along, so... I get worried about these streams that are just like 5 minutes of silence, then me reading back what I put down. I worry if that's not interesting for you. I know it's not first screen stuff. This is second screen stuff, obviously. True neutral is generally seen as the animalistic alignment. In no nor care for morality, they simply survive. Yeah, that makes more sense. Don't know why that didn't show up in the chat, though. Let me refresh the chat box. That's weird. I don't know why it's not showing up on the main screen. Like, it'll happen to me, too. Like, some of my messages will get eaten up. But I see what you're posting, Jake. I do see what you're posting. I don't know. I think there's a different chat filter after hours than there is regularly. It's fucking weird. But luckily, these streams, like, I'm not playing a game or anything. So I'm able to have the live chat open. I can read what's going on, even if it's not showing up on the screen. It's fucking weird. I'll have to look into that. Like, I was in one of Himawari's stream recently. He was playing Faith Part 3, and he was getting really super angry, super frustrated on the final boss of the true final boss. And I tried to tell him 5 or 6 times, hey, you've essentially beaten him. You just need to do this one thing. And the auto mod kept getting rid of that one thing. Of course, the one thing is his character has to shove his head in the fire and run into him while his head's on fire. So I can understand why it auto-modded, but oh my god, it got to the point where I just had to say, hey, it's deleted my post 5 times. I'm trying to tell you how to beat him. And then Hema actually looked up how to do it. So at least it got taken care of. I don't like the backseat. I tell people not to backseat most games because I don't like backseat. I don't like being backseat, so I don't like the backseat. But he was getting so frustrated, thought the fight was going to go on forever. And yes, the fight was going to loop on forever unless he knew about the trick about shoving your head in the fire. And that's something you're only going to get from like one letter in the game. God, this hurts. Just give me a moment. I think I'm okay. As soon as it kicks in, I'll be fine. I'm sure as soon as I get into the feel of the writing, I'll be fine. So with Bull, It, and Parasite, it's weird. And it only seems to happen at night, too. I don't get it. I'll have to look into the settings. Alright, so. Wanted to explore Sandy a little bit as she used to be before we knew her as Sandra Bee. Because her actual name is Ma'i, M-A'-I-I. The old Navajo word for coyote, Ma'i. I know her as Sandra Bee. Sandra Bee is actually a reference to Final Fantasy IV, the first RPG I ever beat on my own. There was an item called the Sandra Bee found in the desert to give to Cecil's girl to patch her up. And Sandy ended up patching me up after she found me in the desert. She was my Sandra Bee. Okay, so I've got a few ideas in mind. Obviously, if anyone has any ideas, I'm not looking at that. Because even on these streams where I like generally know what I want to do, want to put out there, I always do appreciate the feedback of the fans, people listening. So, time to introduce another character. What will probably be the last character we add before shit starts really popping off in the hovering. It's always that first line. Once I come up with that good first line, I always like a good first line to help set the scene. And I think I know how we're going to start this. Because there's one aspect we haven't explored of Amanda's life that much yet, and that is her job at Desert Salt LLC. Plugged in the USB keyboard just to make it more comfortable for me to write. I know that's not how it's spelled. That like load the library. There it is. Right clicking and it's just not bringing it up. What's the task manager? Task manager seems fine. Something might just be updating in the background. Good morning, Clanker. How's it going, my man? We're just going to get a little dark today. I mean, most of the shit I end up writing ends up being dark, but this is actually going to be a purpose. Is that no? That is Attorney J. Mossberg Malgraves, the new character we're introducing into the story, who's kind of here to help kill the story. Oh God. Wow. The internet's small, filthy portable hung particularly impressively as the one working fluorescent light hummed incessantly, illuminating the two figures perched on either side of the desk. J-Man, the leader, there you fucking go, man. G-Man, the new WebP Jet champion. That reminds me, I've got to update the thumbnails for Sextet Synthesis. It was blank, but I got to update that now. Because now we know who's going to be participating in Sextet Synthesis. I can update that now. We made the two figures person. It's... Have you ever been in a fucking... They called them portables back in the day. These little tiny shithouse trailers. I used to have to work in them, and I used to have to go to school in them, too, back in the day. It fucking sucked. I hated it. These tiny little shit boxes. Little fucking trailer things. So I figured Desert Salt would probably have some. God, that is the that just came to me, but that is probably the best description of these shitty little fucking portables. It's like the back rooms in a to-go box. Everything had been under reconstruction for a while at Desert Salt LLC. Desert Salt LLC. Having every non-essential function cordoned off his little stale shitbox made the most sense. It was like the back rooms in a to-go box. They were not fun. They were not fun. Amanda, for once not the one behind the desk, idly turned her eyes to the window, knowing it would be closed. Behind the window, she could picture her co-workers toiling away ceaselessly at the salt mines. In the salt mines. Toiling away ceaselessly in the salt mines. Amanda's old profession before she was moved up to middle management. Something she could do from home with minimal physical strain. She didn't recognize a lot of the faces in the mines these days. There'd been a lot of turnover. Amanda was one of the most senior employees there, and she'd barely been there half a decade. So yeah, I think that one paragraph kind of helps establish like Amanda's position. She's important solely because she's been there for a while and she knows how shit works. Which, you know, obviously is autobiographical. Like, I'm not the smartest fucking tool in the shed over there. But I've been there long enough that I'm the only person who knows how certain things work. That's why I get the regular hours I do. And the treatment I do. Again, I worry that the writing streams aren't that interesting. Like when I have, but when I get going, I really get going. Just setting up the scene here. On the other side of the desk, seemingly just as bored as Amanda, under those eyes as dead and gray as Amanda's flesh, was the person decked out in the usual Mahavre chic. Button-up shirt, men's business suit, orange this time. Plugging in a small touchpad to the old workstation we nicely set up on site. They slid the touchpad and stylus over to Amanda, keeping most of their attention to the computer monitor. Adjusting the levels here, sorry. Keeping their attention to the computer monitor. What voice should I use? You just have to say it once and it'll remember your signature. I'll have to read each instant off, though, legal purposes, mind you. Amanda nodded, trying to crane her head over to read what she was signing. The person in orange behind the desk almost seemed to take offense to this. What is it, Splatts? I want to read what I'm signing off on. What, you don't trust me? The orange-clad person said with so little emotion that Amanda couldn't tell if they were joking or not. Drew more hesitation than normal. From the roadkill wagey. I'm the fucking roadkill wagey. I hate it. I hate it. I'm trying to remember. I saw this in a episode of Law and Order once. I'm trying to remember what the exact term was. What is it, Splats? I want to read what I'm signing off on. What, don't you trust me? The orange-clad person said with so little emotion that Amanda couldn't tell if they were joking or not. This drew more hesitation than normal from the roadkill wage. Proofreading and checking the details is literally in my job description. The person in orange nodded, sliding the computer monitor around. Luckily, life on the internet had helped train Amanda to be a fast reader. Although she wasn't totally satisfied with what she saw, she did make out the line, "Your continued employment here is conditional on you agreeing with these terms." Amanda signed, grunting in approval every time the orange-clad employee pointed out another place they were inserting the digital signature. Forced arbitration. I had to come all the way down here to the office just to sign this. Couldn't have done this online. Yeah, speaking of Windows, I heard that they finally killed Windows 10. Like 11 has been around, and like 11 is the only option really right now because they've stopped support for Windows 10. So I obviously I can't afford a new computer, but if I could, it's gonna have to be Windows 11. Like I'm not running fucking Linux. I'm not that smart. But I didn't do like Windows 11s or 11 Pro, just 11. That's all I've got running right now. It's a little bloated. forever refuse though. They don't support 10 and 10. I would keep using like 98. I liked Windows 98. That was really nice. Vista was dog shit. 7 was fine. 8 was dog shit. 10 is 11's a little rough. What happened to Windows 9, man? What happened to fucking Windows 9? There's no 9, man. My running gag is that Windows 9 is the Windows that they used in Gensokyo. Because, 780, oh my lord, Jinx. Vor, in my computer naming systems, it's more possible than you think. Iwawa. Forced arbitration. The person in orange nodded the computer monitor around. Luckily, life on the internet had helped train Amanda to be a fast reader. And although she wasn't totally satisfied with what she saw, she did make out the line, "We continued employment here is conditional on agreeing to these terms." And Amanda signed, grunting in approval every time the orange-clad employee pointed out another place there inserting the digital signature. Forced arbitration. I had to come all the way down here to the office just to sign this. Couldn't have done this online. Yeah, well, you've been working from home for so long, I figured he'd be good at it, blow the stink off of you. Isn't that right, Roadkill Girl? The person on the other end of the desk lazily barked out. You haven't taken a scene gig in months. You barely... I don't want to talk about my personal life at work. I've signed the paperwork. Are we done? The other person sighed, logging out of their account on the computer. The name J. Mossberg Malgrave showing up in the Windows login screen. Mossberg, Desert Salt LLC's lawyer and former district attorney from Malvery County, was subtly letting Amanda know that everything from here on in was off the record. I'd expect a little more respect, Splatts. I'm the one who got you this job, remember? Lucrezia came here with you under her arm like some sniveling chihuahua once she realized you weren't really built for anything else. And that singing voice? To which Mossberg indicated with air finger quotes. Wasn't going to cut it. Now you've got your hooks into this place just as much as we've got our hooks into you. Where's the respect? Amanda, docile and scared as she usually was, actually got her dander up a bit at this statement. I show my respect by clocking in on time every day and doing my fucking job. Doing my fucking job. Expect a little bit more respect, Splats. I'm the one who got this job, remember? Lucrezia came to me with you under her arm like some sniveling chihuahua when she realized we weren't really built for anything else. And that singing voice. To which Mossberg indicated her air finger quotes. There, wasn't gonna cut it. Now you've got your hooks in this place just as much as we've got our hooks into you. Where's the respect? Amanda, docile and scared as she usually was, actually got her dander up by this bit of statement. I show my respect by clocking in on time every day and doing my fucking job. No, that's you earning your paycheck. You don't get praise for doing exactly what we hired you to do. When's the last time you went above and beyond for this company? Or anything for that matter. Like that little internet show you do. Mossberg opined, leaning back and grabbing a bottle of water, idly flipping it in the air. Amanda just bit her tongue as Mossberg grabbed what seemed like a small, thin paper packet, almost like rolling papers, and inserting some granules into the bottle. The liquid almost immediately turned a disgusting purplish black as Mossberg replaced the lid and shook it up. You ever have those like little drink mix you pour in the 20-ounce bottle? They're kind of nice. They're very convenient. But it's not my place to judge your performance, is it? I'm here to make sure this place stays on the straight and narrow. On the straight and narrow. Granted, it's not as enthralling as my time as district attorney, but little rays of sunshine like you can make it all the worthwhile. All the more worthwhile. We need a nice car. A nice type of car that, like, a lawyer would drive around in. Something that shows that she's got money even though, or they've got money even though they're working at Desert Salt LLC. Classy sports cars of 2025. The Porsche 911 remains a benchmark, offering exceptional handling and a smooth ride, with a starting price of $120,000 for the coupe and $133,400 for the cabriolet. That sounds good. Amanda stood up, her face screwing into an upset, angry scowl. Mossberg always seemed to know how to get under her skin. This is that first day she had to sign off on Amanda's employment in the first place. I have to get going. I need to go see Sand Ruby tonight. At this mention, Mossberg stood up, making their way to the door of the disgusting portable. Amanda followed them out, Mossberg making doubly sure she wasn't alone in their office. Oh, what a coincidence, so am I. You seem like you're about to pass out again. You need some water? Amanda nodded, looking at the bottle in Mossberg's hand. Yeah, it'd be great, thanks. Mossberg nodded, ran in the driver's seat, cherry red Porsche 911. Red is too generic. Jet black, I like jet black better. The jet black Porsche 911. Yeah, well, the vending machines are where they've always been. As Amanda reached over the passenger side door to hit the right center of the cave, Mossberg loudly peeled off, casting that accursed tainted sand across the Desert Salt LLC parking lot. Amanda just stood and stared, biting back both tears and a stream of curses. So yeah, I think we've gone ahead and established Mossberg's character on those 2 pages. Mossberg's a bitch. It's going a little slow saving, I wonder. Like, maybe the computer is updating in the background. I don't know. Maybe it's just because OBS is going. Every time I save, I like looking at over the other documents I saved, the other writings I've done. Kind of a nice look back. Alpha Amanda, Factions, Malone and Mahavre, Mid-South. No More Lies, Recapitation, Revelations. San Ruby Original Live, Sodega. Splatts Origin Live, The Night It Happened. Waterways, WCW Weird Dreams. I used to do this too back in the day, like when I finished writing something, or at least a big significant part of it. I like to come back years later and read it somewhat fresh. Occasionally I'll mine stuff for other stuff. Because, like, the stuff I used to write back in the day, only a very tiny percentage of people ever actually read it. So if I mine a little bit here and there for future stuff, then no one's gonna know. I think that's why one of the reasons by Amanda being a roadkill stew, the roadkill stew of flavor, kind of fits too, because the writings you're seeing, some of the stuff is cobbled together from old things. Although Mossberg is completely new. I think we've all known people like Mossberg. So yeah, I think in 2 pages we've gone ahead and established Mossberg and their ties to Amanda and her life. So I think we can go ahead and just continue, like, focus on the story itself. I forget, did Amanda have the card? The card she won on Classic Concentration. I forgot what it was called, that little emporium or whatever, where the fight with Alpha and Malone's mech started. A couple of lift rides and one long decompression session at the Maverick Shop. No, she didn't pick up. I'm sorry. Maybe she rented a car for a couple days. Because she's going to have to find it herself. Basically, I don't know if I've completely explained it, but like the roads, like if you've ever seen BlazBlue Central Fiction, my playthrough of that, the places in Mojave are kind of like that. The directions to each place, they can change, they can shuffle. It's kind of like a roguelike every day. The map of Mojave shuffles every day. Because the roads are non-Euclidean. Because the entire place is tainted by Eldritch. So it's like you don't know what road could lead to what on any given day. That's why Juliet has the radio station, Radio Free Mojave, that gives people signals to the proper places. Yeah, I'm not smart enough to write a ton of metaphors, but there are a couple of Mojave. When driving her economy class rental car in one long decompression session at the Mojave Shopping Center's coffee house later, does assault out to give her the rest of the day off since Mossberg was managed to come into the office. Amanda successfully killed enough time that the sun started to sink down over the horizon. It was easier to come across San Ruby's cave at this time of night. Of course, if Sandy didn't want to be found, you couldn't find the place. Period. But she knew Amanda was coming, so Amanda had about as much confidence in that as anything else as she drove off, letting the sands of Mojave and the tinted non-Euclidean roads take her where they may. It wasn't long before Amanda emerged as she had so many times over the last 15 years at San Ruby's cave. Small, nondescript outcropping in the earth that led to a bone-dry waterways that once nourished this place. Amanda idly thought about the vow she promised to Agent Tekin about restoring the holy water of this place, making it beautiful as it's been since time immemorial. Was this really possible? What if this living hell was just reality now? Was Mahavri too far gone? Was she? That creeping doubt and insecurity that's never far from Amanda's mind. It's always, always there. She's a fucking wreck. I'm a fucking wreck. As usual, the entrance to Sandy's cave was littered with the black dress-clad cultists, those on the edge of town. However, these days it didn't seem nearly as hostile towards Amanda. It used to be that Amanda had to wait in her car for Sandrub to gander through the moaning, wailing throng. Now, as Amanda stepped out, several of the soul-shattered, mind-broken cultists simply turned their heads, acknowledging her existence, and went back to their mindless shambling. Yeah, this is what I was talking about, the antagonist of the story changing. Originally, it was supposed to be Sandy, but then it ended up being the Rattlers, and now it's going to be Mossberg. Because the Rattlers are just kind of like a generic fucking thugs. Like, I don't even think I'll end up mentioning them here. They probably won't come up. The Cannoneer, the cultist who once worked to ringleader General Bunbud back during the Eldritch War, and still had her cannon at the ready, idly saluted Amanda as she made her way to the cave. Amanda sighed, knowing the Cannoneer was still alive, gave Bunbud hope. Hope. The theme of hope is a theme that comes up a lot in Mahavre. And something that I've been trying to work on myself personally, having hope. Things are fucked. Things are absolutely and unapologetically fucked beyond repair here. But there's hope. Even if it may not actually lead to anything, there's hope. Yeah, it was all about trying to fix what was broken. Much like when San Ruby started studying Amanda, copying her form in an effort to reverse engineer what had happened to her from that isekai truck running her over. If she could save one of them, Bun Bun thought, she could save all of them. Because a lot of these cultists, the ones from the edge of town, I'm sure a lot of them are former soldiers, both of the Red Desert Army and of the military. Probably a couple former Eldritch warriors too, just lost and broken from the horrible shit that they've seen and had to do. The war fucked everyone up. That's why Amanda's role is so important, because she's an outsider. She wasn't here when the war and Mahavre took place. She's not tainted. Just like Takeen is not tainted, because the gods fast-forwarded her, sent her forward in time. Just like Alpha Splatts is not tainted, because she's Amanda from the future. I think they're the only three people who are not tainted. Everyone else is sick to some degree with what makes this place sick. Mossberg included. Alpha Splat's also the thing. It's so sick. You damn fucking right, baby. You damn fucking right, baby. I thought you was just. The changes in San Ruby's demeanor and attitude since our heart-to-heart talk at the Mahavre County Golf Association, the one-year anniversary riding stream, had been palpable. Initially, Amanda thought she was just letting go and relaxing, but the more Amanda learned about the past of this place, the more she realized San Ruby was just leaning back into an old life. I thought it was 2. I'll look up something. I think I had an idea of how this chapter is going to end. Now I just need to get there. Look up more. Google Translate. It's not going to give me a perfect translation, but maybe I'll get a cool name out of it. Yeah, that sounds fine. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. talked about this last month. I thought it would be fucking hilarious if Sandy had a beaded curtain like they had back in the 70s and 80s. Just a string of beads hanging from the ceiling of the cave to kind of cordon things off. It's inferred that it's Sandy. You don't need to spell it out. And there's this term. There's this fucking term I heard a few years ago. I hate this fucking term. I hate this fucking term. But I promised myself I'd find a way to use it. In a story, once I heard it. It's the most horrible fucking term ever. The changes in San Ruby's demeanor and her attitude since their heart-to-heart at the Mojave County Golf Association had been palpable. Initially, Amanda thought she was just letting go and relaxing. But the more Amanda learned about this past of this place, the more she realized Sandy was just not leaning, regressing. Regressing back to an old life. As a coyote god, Ma'i had taken many names and forms over the millennia. She chose the name San Ruby to refer to her time with Amanda. Like I said, San Ruby's a reference to Final Fantasy IV. 2 in the US. But Ma'i was her true name. San Ruby, as we know her, didn't exist until Amanda crawled her way into Mojave. And before then, she was... All those years ago, what would you have said if someone was going to tell you that you were shacking up with the Lucrezia Impostore? Sandy's voice rasped out, coming from well deep in that cave, strangely walled off by a series of... There's got to be a better way to word that. This is why I read stuff. Like, this is not just for the show. This is not just for the internet show. I read these out loud, too. To myself when I write. just to make sure it sounds relatively natural. Sandy's voice rasped out, coming from, well, from deep within. From deep within that cave. Comma, strangely walled off one by a series of hanging beads. Cretsy Impastore, the woman who once ran Mahavre, the big mover and shaker. Amanda stopped cold, not wanting to eavesdrop so much as not wanting to interrupt. I'd say they must be in some pretty thick legal trouble if you find yourself smashing clams with the district attorney. Good thing the rich and powerful don't really have to pay, right? Smashing clams. I heard the term smashing clams once and I fucking hated it. And then, like, I hated it so much, like, yeah, I gotta fucking use it. I gotta. The rich and powerful never really have to pay, right? That's another fucking thing. I don't want to get into politics, but sometimes I just lose fucking hope for the world. I fucking do, really. That's some nice snacks. Because that was one of like the simpler things between Amanda's. Amanda doesn't eat sugar. Sandy's got a sweet tooth. Like sometimes when I'm streaming a Sandy, I'll even get something nice and sweet just to get into the mindset. What did I have last time? That's some vanilla ladyfingers. They're real good. Like when I do eat like cookies and stuff, the rare occasions, either the sugar-free shit or I have it with coffee. Cause some of the stuff is so good with coffee, man. Beer's great with coffee. Oh, I got back your text. I'm happy like I go for a few minutes without talking. And it doesn't claim the fucking stream like the Pixar. I should have had to use YouTube music, and I actually pulled up a new YouTube just for the stream. And I think it's actually really nice that I don't have to worry about that shit anymore. I love Pixabay. I love Pixabay so much. But it was almost impossible to use their BGM after a while. Like after YouTube updated whatever content ID shit they were doing. Amanda was smart enough to know when she shouldn't interfere, leaving the box of no lady fingers and those strange fudge elf cookies by the beads before taking her leave. Making her way back to her rental, Amanda spotted Mossberg's 911, one of those disposable water bottles full of black liquid sitting on top. Amanda, dehydrated as she was, and more than a bit annoyed with Mossberg after their meeting earlier that day, fired off a quick text to San Ruby before she made her way to the bottle and took a swig of the black liquid inside. Like most times she ate or drank something she wasn't familiar with, Amanda immediately regretted it. She dropped down to her knees, dry heaving, the revolting taste filling her mouth, her head, and her very soul. Something was wrong. Horribly, painfully wrong. This just didn't hurt her stomach. This wrenched away at her very being. I use the word soul being. What the hell are you doing? She could hear Mossberg screaming as they emerged from the cave, hastily sliding their... Yeah, in case you didn't pick up on it, Mossberg's pronouns are they, them. Hastily sliding their vest back onto the tall, busty, half-naked, statuesque Amazon with long silver hair, glowing red eyes, and a rather large bust peeked at her head out of the cave. It's my medication! How much did you take? How much did you drink, Amanda? Luce, stay in the cave. You don't want to arouse those. I've got this, I've got this. Those, as in those on the edge of town, the cultists. Mossberg, weaving through the wave of cultists, suddenly noticing Lucrezia emerge, ran over to the doubled over Amanda and started smacking her violently on the back. We need to induce vomiting. Get that out of your system. Shove your finger down your throat now. Mossberg shouted with authority. Amanda, terrified and racked with pain, immediately complied. That's not the wrong spelling. It's like a typo. I think that's right. Current with an A. I think it's a fruit crop. Yeah, that's right. That there lips. No, not yet. Hey, what the hell are you doing? You could hear Mossberg screaming as they emerged from the cave, hastily sliding their vest back on as a tall, busty, half-naked, statuesque Amazon with long silver hair, glowing red eyes, and a rather large bust peeked her head out of the cave. "It's my medication! How much did you drink? How much did you drink, Amanda? Luce, stay in the cave. You don't want to arouse those. I've got this. Mossberg, weaving through the wave of cultists, suddenly noticing Lucrezia emerge, ran over to the doubled over Amanda and started smacking her violently on the back. We need to induce vomiting. Get that out of your system. Shove your finger down your throat now, Mossberg shouted with authority. Amanda, terrified and racked with pain, immediately complied, shoving her finger down her throat, feeling the bile rising in the churning of her stomach as she tried to force it to course correct. She was just about to spew her toxic vomit all over those eldritch sands, finger firmly down her throat, before Mossberg stopped smacking her in the back and pulled Amanda's finger out of her own throat, leaning in close enough that their lips brushed Amanda's ear. It's just blackberry currant. Never, ever touch my things again. Taking the hand that was pounding on her back and suddenly driving the palm directly into her already shattered spine, eliciting screams of pain from the roadkill as Mossberg rolled her aside with her foot, dragging the 6'6" roadkill to her feet with surprising ease. Go home. You have the early shift tomorrow, and don't you ever impinge on my time with Luce again. I knew her long before you were one of 100 smears on the pavement out there. She's mine. You'll be mine again once you finally drive her away, like you drive everyone else in your life away. Get to driving. Get to driving. Amanda, racked with pain and emotion, slowly staggered away back to the rental car as Mossberg finished off her drink, watching Amanda drive off shakily into the night. I'm sorry again. I'm sorry. Like, I know these writing streams. Like, some of them to interact, like, have ideas. But sometimes, like, I just really get fucking going. And there's just nothing but the BGM for a few minutes. And then I come out and I've really got... That's why I think this is, like, good second screen content. Like, I put up the picture of Mossberg so you know what they look like. But I know it's, like, second screen content. It's just BlackBerry current. Never, ever touch my things again. Taking the hand that was pounding on her back and suddenly driving the palm directly into her already shattered spine, listening screams of pain from the roadkill. Mossberg rolled her aside with a foot, dragging the 6'6" roadkill to her feet with surprising ease. Go home. You have the early shift tomorrow. And don't you ever impinge on my time with Luce again. I knew her long before you were one of 100 smears on the pavement up there. She's mine. You'll be mine again once you finally drive her away, like you drive everyone else in your life away. Now get to driving. Amanda, racked with pain and emotion, slowly staggered her way back to a rental car as Mossberg finished off their drink. Watching Amanda drive off shakily into the night. Amanda, had she been a more sturdy mind, might have noticed that several drops of that blackberry current that had spilled onto those eldritch sands were now actively steaming and sizzling, exposed to the open air. Mossberg, shaking their head, took a quick look at those. Shorthand for those on the edge of town. That's why I capitalized the T in those. The mind-broken eldritch cultists. With a couple of brief flicks of their wrists, a couple of almost imperceptible finger movements, the cultists started grabbing their heads, dropping to their knees, staring at the sky, screaming and wailing in unison, crying out to their dead gods, further retreating into their shattered minds. The screaming and wailing of dozens of broken women in unison. Then, with another flick of their wrists, the cultists were silenced. Mossberg grinned, slowly making their way back to the cave. It's fine, Luce. Their voice could be heard carrying on tainted winds to this once only place. I just had to teach the roadkill a lesson not touching my things. Didn't want those to swarm that nubile young body of yours, right? I mean, you heard how loud they can get when they notice the roadkill's here. Just another night in the desert. A short stream. I knew this was going to be a relatively short stream today. I mean, not even two. Like, when I really get going, I get like 5 or 6 hours. But 2 to 3 isn't unheard of for a writing stream. It's just this time I had one singular goal in mind, and that was to introduce the last character in the story, Malgraves, J. Mossberg Malgraves. So I think that's okay. A good place to stop. We get a good idea of Mossberg's personality. And like her antagonism towards Amanda, and a good one of the obvious reason is that they may be pissed off about Amanda monopolizing Sandy's time. Because think about all the time that Sandy has to use patching up Amanda being Menhera, Sandy having to patch her up. That's time she's not spending with Mossberg. See, I think I'm going to go ahead and use the restroom quickly. We're almost done here. But I like to do the BRB screen because, like, at the end of the story, I always read the story in full. I always read the story if it was like, so anyone who misses the stream, they know they can just skip to the end and they can just get the story from the beginning, like the whole thing. So I'll BRB. I'm back. Just wanted to grab a quick drink too. So brother, welcome back. Thank you, Jenks. The congestion had been really fucking bad over the last week or so. I was able to get over, like, with minimal. I've had like minimal coughing over the last like few streams. You notice my streams have been a little bit shorter recently here and there. I get worried like when a writing stream doesn't go 4 to 5 hours, but some stories are just shorter than others. Next month I do want to do one of the writing streams where the people who are like in the stream get to join in, like have opinions and stuff, like kind of formulate stuff. But for now, I wanted to flesh out Mossberg, the final character in the story. So here we go. At the end of every stream, I like to read the whole story. Number one, because it helps me gather my thoughts and see if there are any like plot holes or anything I might have missed. And number two, anyone who doesn't catch these live, because it is like in the middle of the fucking morning, 7 a.m. It lets them just like skip right ahead and get to the story itself. So here we go. Killing this world. The air hung in that small, filthy portable hung particularly oppressively as the one working fluorescent light hummed incessantly, illuminating the two figures perched on either side of the desk. Everything had been under reconstruction for a while at Desert Salt LLC, so having every non-essential function cordoned off into its own little stale shit box made the most sense. It was like the back rooms in a to-go box. Amanda, for once not the one behind the desk, idly turned her eyes to the window, knowing it would be closed. Behind the window, she could picture her co-workers toiling away ceaselessly in the salt mines. Amanda's old profession, before she was moved up to middle management, something she could do from home with minimal physical strain. She didn't recognize a lot of the faces in the mines these days. There had been a lot of turnover. Amanda's one of the most senior employees there, and she'd barely been there half a decade. On the other side of the desk, seemingly just as bored as Amanda, into those eyes dead and gray as Amanda's flesh, was a person decked out in the usual Mojave chic button-up shirt, men's business suit, orange this time, plugging in a small touchpad to the old workstation that had been hastily set up on site. They slid the touchpad and a stylus over to Amanda, keeping most of their attention on the computer monitor. You just have to sign once and I'll remember your signature. I have to read each instant off, though, legal purposes, mind you. Amanda nodded, trying to crane her head over to what she was signing. The person in orange behind the desk seemed to take offense to this. What is it, Splatts? I want to read what I'm signing off on. What, you don't trust me? The orange-clad person said with a little emotion that Amanda couldn't tell if they were joking or not. This drew more hesitation than normal from the roadkill waging. Proofreading and checking the details is literally in my job description. The person in orange nodded, sliding the computer monitor around. Luckily, life on the internet had helped train Amanda to be a fast reader, and although she wasn't totally satisfied with what she saw, she did make out the line, "Your continued employment here is conditional on you agreeing to these terms." And Amanda, quote-unquote, signed, grunting in approval every time the orange-clad employee pointed out another place where they were inserting the digital signature. Forced arbitration. I had to come all the way down here to the office just to sign this. We could have done this online. Yeah, well, you've been working from home for so long. I figured it'd be a good idea to blow the stink off you. Isn't that right, Roadkill Girl? Person on the other end of the desk lazily barked out. You haven't taken a singing gig in months. You barely... I don't want to talk about my personal life at work. I've signed the paperwork. Are we done? The other person sighed, logging out of their account on the computer, the name J. Mossberg Malgraves showing up on the Windows login screen. Mossberg, Desert Assault LLC's lawyer and former district attorney from Mojave County, was subtly letting Amanda know that everything from here on was off the record. I'd expect a little more respect, Splatts. I'm the one who got this job, remember? Lucrezia came to me with you under her arm, like some sniveling chihuahua, once she realized you weren't really built for anything else. And that singing voice? To which Mossberg indicated with air finger quotes, wasn't going to cut it. Now you've got your hooks into this place just as much as we've got our hooks into you. But where's the respect? Amanda, docile and scared as she usually was, actually got her dander up a bit at this statement. I show my respect by checking in on time every day and doing my fucking job. No, that's you earning your paycheck. You don't get praise for doing exactly what we hired you to do. When's the last time you went above and beyond for this company? Or anything, for that matter. Like the little internet show you do. Mossberg opined, leaning back and grabbing a bottle of water as he flipping it into the air. Amanda just bit her tongue as Mossberg grabbed what seemed like a small, thin paper packet, almost like rolling papers, inserting some granules into the bottle. The liquid almost immediately turned disgusting purplish black as Mossberg replaced the lid and shook it up. That's not my place to judge your performance, is it? I'm here to make sure this place stays on the straight and narrow. Granted, it's not enthralling as my time as district attorney, but the little rays of sunshine like you make it all the more worthwhile. Amanda stood up, her face screwing with an angry, upset scowl. Mossberg always seemed to know how to get under her skin. Since that first day, she had to go sign off on Amanda's employment in the first place. I have to get going. I need to go see San Ruby tonight. At this mention, Mossberg stood up, making their way to the door of the disgusting portable. Amanda followed them out, Mossberg making doubly sure she wasn't alone in their office. Oh, well, what a coincidence. So am I. You seem like you're about to pass out. Again. You need some water? Amanda nodded, looking at the bottle in Mossberg's hand. Yeah, that'd be great, thanks. Mossberg nodded, sliding in the driver's seat of the jet black Porsche 911. Yeah, well, the vending machines are where they've always been. And as Amanda reached over the passenger side door to hitch her ride to San Ruby's cave, Mossberg loudly peeled off, casting that accursed, tainted sand across the Desert Salt LLC parking lot. Amanda just stood and stared, biting back both tears and a stream of curses. When driving her economy class rental car and one long decompression session at Mojave Shopping Center's coffee house later, Desert Salt had to give her the rest of the day off since Mossberg was managed to come into the office. Amanda had successfully killed enough time that the sun had started to sink down over the horizon. It was easier to come across San Ruby's cave at this time of night. Of course, if Sandy didn't want to be found, you couldn't find the place, period. But she knew Amanda was coming, so Amanda had about as much confidence in that as anything else, as she drove off, letting the sands of Mojave and the tainted non-Euclidean roads take her where they may. It wasn't too long before Amanda emerged, as she had so many times over the last 15 years, at San Ruby's cave. A small, nondescript outcropping in the earth that led to bone-dry waterways that once nourished this place. Amanda idly thought about the vow she promised Agent Takeen about restoring the holy water of this place, making it beautiful as it had been since time immemorial. Was that really possible? What if this living hell was just reality now? Was Mojave too far gone? Was she? As usual, the entrance to Sandra's cave was littered with the black dress-clad cultists, those on the edge of town. However, these days they didn't seem nearly as hostile towards Amanda. It used to be that Amanda had waited in her car for San Ruby to guide her through the moaning, wailing throng. Now, as Amanda stepped out, several of the soul-shattered, mind-broken cultists simply turned their heads, acknowledging her existence, and went back to their mindless shambling. The Cannoneer, the cultist who once worked directly under General Bun back during the Eldritch War and still had her cannons at the ready, idly saluted Amanda as she made her way to the cave. Amanda sighed, knowing the Cannoneer was still alive gave Bun hope. It was all about trying to fix what was broken. Much like when San Ruby started studying Amanda, copying her form in an attempt to reverse engineer whatever happened to her for that isekai truck running her over. If she could save one of them, Bun thought, she could save them all. The changes in San Ruby's demeanor and attitude since her heart-to-heart with the Mojave County Golf Association had been palpable. Initially, Amanda thought she was just letting go and relaxing. But the more Amanda learned about the past of this place, the more she realized San Ruby was just regressing back into an old life. As a coyote god, Ma'i had taken many names and forms over the millennia. She chose the name San Ruby to refer to her time with Amanda, but Ma'i was her true name. San Ruby, as we know her, didn't exist until Amanda crawled away into Mojave. Before then, she was... All those years ago, what would you have said if someone was going to tell you that you were shacking up with the Prezia Impostore? Sandy's voice rasped out, coming from deep inside the cave, strangely walled off only by a series of hanging beads. Lucrezia Impostore, the one who once ran Mahavre, the big mover and shaker. The man stopped cold, not wanting to eavesdrop so much as not wanting to interrupt. I'd say they must have some pretty thick legal trouble if you find yourself smashing clams with the district attorney. Good thing the rich and powerful never really have to pay you, right? Amanda was smart enough to know when she shouldn't interfere, leaving the boxes of vanilla ladyfingers and those strange fudge elf cookies by the beads before taking her leave. Making her way back to her rental, Amanda spotted Mossberg's 911 and one of those disposable water bottles full of black liquid sitting on top. Amanda, dehydrated as she usually was and more than been annoyed with Mossberg after their meeting earlier that day, quickly fired off a text to Sandruby before she made her way over to the bottle and took a small swig of the black liquid inside. Like most times she had drank anything she wasn't familiar with, Amanda immediately regretted it. She dropped down to her knees, dry heaving, the revolting taste filling her mouth, her head, her very soul. Something was wrong. Horribly, painfully wrong. This didn't just hurt her stomach. This wrenched away at her very being. Hey, what the hell are you doing? You could hear Mossberg screaming as they emerged from the cave, hastily sliding their vests back onto the tall, busty, half-naked, statuesque Amazon with long silver hair, glowing red eyes, and a rather large bust peeked her head out of the cave. That's my medication! How much did you drink? How much did you drink, Amanda? Luce, stay in the cave. You don't want to arouse those. I've got this. Mossberg, weaving her way through the cultists, suddenly noticing Lucrezia emerge, ran over to the doubled-over Amanda and started smacking her violently on the back. We need to induce vomiting. Get that out of your system. Shove your finger down your throat now. Mossberg shouted with authority. Amanda, terrified and racked with pain, immediately complied, shoving her finger down her throat, feeling the bile rising and the churning of her stomach as she tried to force it to course correct. She was just about to spew her toxic vomit all over those eldritch sands, finger firmly down her throat, before Mossberg stopped smacking her in the back, pulled Amanda's finger out of her own throat, leaning it close with their lips brushed Amanda's ear. It's just blackberry currant. Never, ever touch my things again. Taking the hand that was pounding on her back and suddenly driving the palm directly into her already shattered spine, eliciting screams of pain from the roadkill, Mossberg rolled her aside with her foot, dragging the 6'6" roadkill to her feet with surprising ease. Go home. You have the early shift tomorrow. Don't you ever impinge on my time with Luce again. I knew long before you were one of 100 smears on the pavement out there. She's mine, and she'll be mine again once you finally drive her away like you drive everyone else in your life away. And I get to drive her. Amanda, racked with pain and emotion, slowly staggered her way back to the rental car as Mossberg finished off their drink, watching Amanda drive off shakily into the night. Amanda, had she been a more sturdy mind, might have noticed that several drops of that blackberry current that had spilled onto those eldritch sands were now actively steaming and sizzling, exposed to the open air. Mossberg, shaking their head, took a quick look at those. Shorthand for those on the edge of town, the mind-broken eldritch cultists. With a couple of brief flicks of her wrist, a couple of almost imperceptible finger movements, the cultists started grabbing their heads, dropping to their knees, staring at the sky, screaming and wailing in unison, crying out to their dead gods, further retreating in their shattered minds, screaming and wails of dozens of women, broken women in unison. Then, with another flick of their wrist, the cultists were silenced. Mossberg grinned, slowly making her way back to the cave. It's fine, Luce. Their voice could be heard carrying out the tainted winds of this once holy place. Said to teach the roadkill a lesson not touching my things. Didn't want those to swarm that nubile young body of yours, right? I mean, you heard how loud they can get when they notice the roadkill's here. Just another night in the desert. So there you go. We have finally settled on our antagonist for the story, J. Mossberg Malgraves, the representative of the Eldritch Taint in the desert. We got San Ruby representing the gods, Bun Bun representing the Red Desert Army, Juliet representing the military, Keen representing the water bearers, Alpha Splatts representing Amanda from the future, and now we got Mossberg representing the Eldritch Taint. I think, like I said, not every. I have to stop judging streams by how long they are. Like, this wasn't a 4 or 5 hour. Like, we're gonna wrap up in a little bit, but I think that went real fucking good for something that was just like a couple hours, focusing mostly on one character. I think that went really fucking good. Go ahead and save. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm real happy with the BGMs, man. Like, originally I was pissed off when I realized I would have to get rid of the BGM that I was using for Pixabay. But oh my god, YouTube has so many. Like, I think like 800 to 1200 different songs. Plus, you can just download the MP3s. Like, that's what I'm doing. I just download the MP3 and then I put it in OBS. It is so nice. Before we go though, just a little bonus. I want to go show you a few different gens I've done of Mossberg that I couldn't show anyone before because it would spoil who Mossberg actually was. Go ahead and pull up my AI folder. AI gens working on it. Nope, that's me on a bus. So one of the things I like about Bing Create, they've updated recently, is that now you can get both portrait and landscape pictures. Meaning instead of the usual 1x1, you can now also get 4x7 and 7x4 in the usual GPT-5. So it's really good for making portraits. So there's Mossberg in a pool hall. The look of Mossberg's look was actually partially inspired by Minnesota Fat's pool legend, like one of the enemies there, Jake. That's kind of what started the initial idea of the design. Here's Mossberg looking a little sassy. Well, like I said, Mossberg's pronouns are they, them. But with the whole smash and clams comment, biologically Mossberg is a woman. As far as we know. I think I started calling Mossberg they, them once I realized that they were going to be a sign of the Eldritch Taint. Because it's they, them as in they, the creatures from the darkness. An accumulation of the evil. Or being looking normal, looking relatively normal. And like I said, there are a couple of really good renders I couldn't show you. Because it would spoil the story. Like this one. I think this one came out real well. Like, Bing didn't want to do the old Eldritch, like, wall of eyes and mouths. So they just made a whole bunch of nasty creatures with tons of eyes and mouths. And I think, considering that they ended up being the same color as Mossberg's outfit, I think it fits them pretty well. Because I just wanted an Eldritch wall of eyes and teeth and tentacles. But they actually gave me people. This is a little closer to what I was looking for. But Mossberg looks a little too cartoony in this one. The background, though, is what I was looking for more. So there you go. That's the story. We now have, after misfiring with Juliet as the antagonist, then misfiring with the Rattlers as the antagonist, I think we finally settled on Mossberg as the antagonist. Because she's got her hooks into him. Or they've got their hooks into Amanda. So yeah, I'm really happy with, like I said, just a few hours. I'm really happy with how it came out. And the story continues, man. Next month, I want to do something like with the community, like taking ideas and suggestions and stuff. Like when we all created Tekken together, that was real fucking fun. And she did play an important role as well. So later today, 4 p.m., I will be playing some games on Malone's channel. We will be doing Spoopy Fightcade. Because the last time me and Malone did a one-person perspective stream was on my channel with him and Sandy. I kind of like that groove we're getting into. Unless it's something where we have to stream both of our perspectives. Only one of us does, and then only the other one does. Because it's a load off your mind when you don't have to stream your end. And I wanted it to be a load off of Malone's mind, not streaming his end. With the San Ruby chat, so you just focus on chatting and character development, lore, and just having a good time. And we're gonna have a good fucking time tonight. 4 p.m. today on Malone's channel. We're doing some Spoopy Fightcade. Don't know if we'll be doing Darkstalkers though. That's the most obvious one. We might. Initially, I wanted to save Darkstalkers for Joko, because fighting game autism. But we'll actually be doing Skullgirls next week. I'm gonna I got the DLC for like 70% off, which includes like the soundtrack and the art book. So we're gonna be trying Skullgirls again, and then, but not today, 4 p.m. Me and Malone. Saturday, the return of Splatter Day. I will play an omnibus. Sunday morning, Darkest Dungeon. I have a visit with my family, though. So, I don't think there's going to be an evening stream this Sunday. I'm trying to limit myself to 5 streams a week, not counting the wrap-up show. The wrap-up show is always something different, always something special. Doesn't count. It's its own entity. But me doing one-page rules one-page rules is a lot of fun. Zoss is hammering away at that. He put it together in 2 or 3 days' time. That was real fucking cool. I'm gonna be happy to see what happens next week when he's got more time to put it together. That's gonna be real cool. And my character, Sister Rushdown, holy crap, she had 2 kills, and she had to kill her own, battle sisters. With the fucking tragic. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this goes. But yeah, the one-page rules yesterday, writing this morning, Fightcade later today, Omnibus on Saturday, Darkest Dungeon on Sunday. That's 5 streams right there. Although, like I said, I was thinking about on the wrap-up show. Do I really need to focus on how many streams I do a week, or how many hours I stream? Because it depends. I know a Saturday stream is going to be a couple hours. I know when a Sunday stream is only going to be a few hours because I'm visiting my family later that day. I know when something can go 8 hours. So what is a good amount of hours to stream a week? And then try to base my schedule on the hours instead of the amount of streams, which can be arbitrary. But the writing, the number one thing is the creative writing. And I book out all the time for this, all the time in the world. Because this is what's important to me. This is what keeps me going. And I think kind of helps set the channel apart a little bit. I hope so, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Jenks, thank you for stopping by. Clanker, thank you for stopping by for like 5 seconds. Lurkers, VOD Watchers, Second Screen Saints. I am your faithful Amanda Splatts, the Amanda Splatts Project. This has been the Amanda Splatts Project. Does it yield a flavor? I can't remember my own fucking outro. But I do remember this. But I believe Cotton Eye Joe. I've been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? I will never forget that as long as I fucking live. It's the Amanda Splatts Project. Y'all have a... I don't know why my mind went there. Y'all have a good fucking day. But I live, God, I know. I want some...